Today's talk is called Shoot for the Moon. Even if you miss, you're up among the stars. So I have spent an entire life being told how unrealistic my goals are, my desires are, what I want is. And it came up again recently for me. Ash and I were shooting a film last week, and I had this vision of what this film was like, and it was the most advanced thing I've ever tried to do. And when it was all done, I was pretty disappointed in the results. And Ash reminded me that even though it didn't live up to my vision, it was way better than anything else I had ever filmed. That it had been this leap step. And so she reminded me of that, and it's what got me thinking to the fact that doesn't that, when we reach for these high, lofty goals, even if we don't reach them, we usually do make a leap. And in that leap, we are closer than we have ever been before. And it reminded me of when I was in the music business. I played music in a rock and roll band for over 20 years. I had 3 record deals. I had a publishing deal. I toured with some amazing bands. I opened for the Rolling Stones. I played around the world. I have played music as far away as in Crimea, in the Ukraine, when it was still part of the Ukraine. I have played in England, and I have played in Mexico, and I have played all over this country. I have opened for the Rolling... Did I mention I have opened for the Rolling Stones and Bachman Turner Overdrive? What I didn't achieve was true success in the business. But that didn't, a success as measured by a hit record or by the millions that stars have attained through being in music. But that doesn't mean I wasn't successful. That doesn't mean that I didn't get to really have so much fun playing music out in the world. So even though I didn't reach the moon, I was up among the stars and got to hang with a lot of stars and see so much and live that rock and roll life. So there's that, there's the possibility. So you might have a dream that feels far-fetched to you, that feels way out of reach. It doesn't matter. Go for it anyway, because it is those out of reach dreams, those things that others will say that's so unrealistic. You need to manage your goals. You need to manage your what you think is possible. No, don't do it. Don't manage anything, because in the going for, in the process of going for what really matters to you, extraordinary things happen whether you get there or not. I have a million examples in my own life of the extraordinary things. I came up with this idea one day. I just woke up with an idea about working for a suicide crisis hotline in a town I lived in Asheville, only to find out that they didn't have one. And me, with no training at all, with no idea how to put one together, knew it was mine to do to make one happen in that town. And so I decided that once again, even though this was a very unrealistic expectation, unrealistic goal, I would go for it. And I started just putting it out there, and before I knew it, we had free office space, free office furniture, a phone system, a corporation, a organization reached out to me to say, we can train you in this and we can support you in making this happen. And within 6 months, we started taking calls and with 60 volunteers. And within the first 3 years, we had over 10,000 calls and intervened every single time successfully. So you just don't know what's possible if you're until you put your foot in, until you say, let's do this, and not worry about whether you reach the end result or not, because what can happen along the way, what can happen as you make those steps along the way, can be so extraordinary. And so here Ash and I were making this film, and I felt disappointed in the result until Ash pointed out to me, look at the leap in this. Look at what we achieved that we have never achieved before. And that's what got me to think about milestones, because I love milestones. And I think milestones are what makes life interesting. I think milestones is what we remember most in our old age. I think milestones is what makes life delicious. So look to your own life and see what milestones, what have you done for the very first time, whether you're 6 or 60 or 80. There's no end to what milestones are possible for you, if you were willing to have a big enough dream, because that's what it comes down to. To have milestones, you got to have a big enough dream that's going to get you there. So don't be afraid of your childhood fantasy. Don't be afraid of that thing that's been itching in the back of your mind that just seems too large. Don't be afraid of being your big, beautiful self in life, even when you're so afraid, even when it doesn't feel safe. Don't be afraid. When we step out in authenticity in a way that we never have before, it shifts life around us in a way that we have never experienced before. There is magic in life. There are miracles. But there's no miracle in sitting around doing the same thing day in and day out because it feels safe. The miracle is in the stretch, the big. Don't worry about whether you get to the end of the road. The end of the road is death. On our way to that, have bigger dreams than you even think are even minutely possible. And take those leaps along the way. Make sure that you are doing something big enough that leads you to milestones. Because those are the moments that you'll remember when you're sitting around going, remember when this happened? But what I truly wish for you is that you never have time to sit around and remember. Because no matter how old you get, there's still another milestone to go. I love you. Thank you.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.